Guys, do you care about your passwords? I don't know about you, but I certainly do care about my passwords. That's the reason I always follow one practice within all my application and online email accounts, or maybe I'm using some other games or whatever it is. The point is, I never use the same common password on all these applications. The reason why is because password hacking in today's world is pretty easy. Because even though you go to online and just type password hack, and lots of people are sharing their ethical hacking way to find the password, including on the same Windows machine, or in fact online applications as well. Because if you use SQL injection, that maybe help those hackers to get some more information about your username and the password. In fact, if you go to cyber cafe, because now everybody have internet, so I don't know if you go to cyber cafe or not, but still in mobile phones, if they can inject malware, if you have your own machine, maybe they inject with the keylogger, then whenever you type your username and the password, so it's gonna be received by the hacker or that intruder who was trying to looking for the password within your organization. So it's pretty easy nowadays, and I think you also probably heard lots of news that, hey, today billion of password has been leaked online from this XYZ website or service, or maybe it's a big organization. Similarly, those organizations now pushing all of these users to keep changing their password after 120 days or after 180 days or 90 days, whatever the practice they are following, which is good, which is absolutely good. But we do also have one more option, and which we call extra layer of security over the password, which can help you to protect people or that hacker to access your application or your confidential data, whether it is on your mobile phone or especially on your cloud-based application, because that's how we are trying to access all of our stuff. So hello guys, my name is Harsh Angra, and in today's video we will talk about that extra layer of security, and we called it multi-factor authentication. And in other way we also call them two-step authentication. I think probably you heard about that two-step authentication, because in one step you need to type your correct password, absolutely right, and the second step you might going to receive, or definitely you're going to receive a notification code or something like a 6-digit code on your mobile phone, or maybe on your email ID, or maybe you're going to receive a call where you need to provide a certain number, which maybe some website or application allow you to give. For example, I give that application to 1 2 3 4 5. So every time I receive a call to verify whether this is me, I'm trying to log in or not, then I need to type the correct number or that correct code. As soon as I type the correct code, I'm able to log in successfully. So that's how, guys, you are going to protect your application, your services, whenever you are trying to access those things, wherever you go. So the overall purpose here to remember and understand about multi-factor authentication is that you have to configure an extra layer of security. And what does it mean? That first you type your password, number one, and second you are going to receive a code, and as soon as you type a code on the screen, only then you are allowed to log into that application, or allowed to log into access your, for example, your what I can call it, your email account, for example. Oh, see, I forgot, I lost already. It's approximate 12 a.m. So you can consider that I'm about to sleep very soon. But I need to finish this video first. So guys, that's all we need to understand about it, today's concept. And yeah, it's in Microsoft we called it secure your identity, because in Azure Active Directory, obviously it's pretty secure. Microsoft is managing everything, blah blah blah, we already know that very well. But what we are not sure, that let's say if you give a username and the password to any of your employee or your client, and they're trying to log in, maybe somebody was standing right behind them or maybe beside those client or that user, and maybe somebody got to know what is your password. Or sometime, we are very much flexible, like our teammate, hey, What's your password? Hey, don't worry, I don't have much thing in my application, so this is my password. So today you tell the password, but maybe next day that guy maybe share that password to someone else who can use your account to do something bad on you. So definitely you don't want to let that happen. So to avoid that, if you add an extra layer of security, now what it does, although that person or that bad guy has the password, don't worry, as soon as he or she type the password, you're going to receive a notification on your mobile phone or on your email account. As long as that guy, that bad guy, do not have that 6-digit code or 4-digit code, whatever the application supports, that guy are not able to access those applications. So that's the main purpose of today's videos, guys. And in Microsoft Azure, it is a mandatory step for all of the administrator people that they should configure multi-factor authentication in their organization. Now, to understand more about multi-factor authentication, this is the picture right here, although I have more in detail picture, but right now I already explained, but just to give you much more idea one more time, that this is a user, obviously is always in a red zone. Why? Because this guy is trying to access his application online, and you know that in online, lots of people, lots of hackers right there, or lots of practitioner are there who is always looking for to find loopholes in those application, and if they find it, they'll hack your password. So let's say the username of that user, he typed the username called XYZ and the password is blah blah blah. So obviously if that guy does not follow the multi-factor authentication, that guy is able to access your application easily. But the problem here is you might able to lose that access of those applications, because as long as you are not been hacked, it's fine. But if your account has been hacked, definitely I'm talking about the password, then maybe that bad guy changed their password and then you are not able to access your application. So guys, what multi-factor authentication can help you here? You just need to add an extra layer, just like I keep repeating these words, that you might configure your mobile phone number. So as soon as you type the correct password, of course, this is the primary requirement that you need to type the correct password, then you are going to receive a 6-digit code, or we call it one-time password, or we call it OTP on your mobile phones. So after you type that OTP, only then you are able to maybe complete your transaction. Maybe you are using, bank application, and they are definitely looking for an extra layer of security where you're going to receive an OTP. And that's why people are keep spreading this message, hey, don't share your OTP with anyone. So obviously they have concern that if you share that OTP as well, so maybe that bad guy already have your password, and if he receive an OTP, then things are gone. I mean, your transaction is going to be successful, and again you're going to lose. But at least we have less option, that because we all carry our mobile phone with us, right? So that's how, guys, we are going to talk about in today's topic, multi-factor authentication. Obviously, in the deployment planning and options, what are the options we have, how we can configure multi-factor authentication in Azure. We will talk about that more, but just to give you more idea about the options, it's pretty easy, guys, because you have phone option. You can type your phone number, you have your email ID, or if you are using authenticator application, just like I'm using for my Hotmail account or my Azure account, I'm using Microsoft Authenticator. We can use that as well to authenticate whether this is me only or someone else, whatever. Like, obviously I need to identify myself, because if you use an authenticator, it is going to use your biometric. And right now in my mobile phone, because I'm using iPhone right now, so I have that biometric as a face recognition. So it recognized my face, and only then it allowed to access those applications. Now with the planning, obviously, whether you don't want to enforce this MFA or multi-factor authentication over the user, or you just want to let these people know, hey, you have an option, whether you just go for multi-factor authentication or not. But in a real-time world, in the best practices, obviously it is not a mandatory step that you should not configure multi-factor authentication. You definitely, you must configure multi-factor authentication in your organization. And the last option and last topic which we are going to cover today is multi-factor authentication implementation. And believe me guys, it's very, very easy in Microsoft Azure. You just need to know where you have to go. You just need to know which license is required to configure multi-factor authentication. And I'm going to tell you one more additional security option in Azure Active Directory. In case you are using your customized application or in-house application, you can still configure multi-factor authentication there as well. So don't worry, we'll talk about that more, and I'll tell you in step-by-step understanding that how multi-factor authentication is going to help you and why it is so important to configure. So guys, let's begin. Now guys, before to move forward, I'd like to share with you one thing, that how your multi-factor authentication works in real time. Not only with Microsoft Azure, I would like to share with you some third-party application or services also offered that two-step verification as well. Because in both sense, I mean in both ways, you can at least understand that how much important that is for you to configure that multi-factor authentication or two-step verification in your application, in your services. Now, obviously, the very first thing that why we need to do that, so that's what you can see on my screen at the moment, that billions of passwords has been leaked online from past data breaches. Now that is a real thing guys, because not only millions, billions of passwords in combined has been actually hacked or leaked online. And actually these hackers, what they do usually, they hacked using their own techniques and then put it on the dark web and then sell them in millions of millions dollars to some firms or some organization or some people who is actually very much interested to to log into those users' account. Maybe they would like to find out some specific people account confidential data. Now, if you go through this article, because I have seen this article on Tech Republic, and I really found this is interesting for you guys, because here they have mentioned about few things which we have already discussed in our initial discussion, that they might use SQL injection flow on a website. So RockU was hit by an attack that exploited a SQL injection. So maybe an hacker is looking for a website with a hack of this username and the password, and actually they found some flow in the SQL side, and finally they use SQL injection flow method to steal all of the passwords. So similarly guys, if you read these articles, you can find out there are many ways how these people actually can hack your passwords. And that's exactly I would like to mention here, that please keep in your mind, multi-factor authentication and two-step verification is very much important within your organization. Now, if I like to show you that how actually it works in Microsoft Azure. So as you can see right now, I'm on Microsoft Azure website. And currently, I really want to check that whether my authentication is currently working well or not. Because guys, I have configured Microsoft Authenticator on my mobile phone. I'm using an iPhone, and here I'm trying to use my account called harshitprofessional@hotmail.com. And don't worry guys, if you look at my other accounts, I'm absolutely okay, because I have protected all of my accounts with the multi-factor authentication. So even though you have the passwords, it's not going to help you, because it is in my hand whether I want to allow or deny. Let me show you. If I click Harsh Professional, I mean this particular email account, and you can see that it's asking for, hey, you have to go to your phone and check your particular Microsoft authentication service. And let me open Authenticator on my mobile phone. I open that and it's checking my face recognition. And if I click on send notification, you will see that a notification you can see on my screen, it's approve sign in or deny. If I click deny, then it won't allow me to sign into this application or this service. That's exactly I would like to mention here, that is, it is protected by a Microsoft Authenticator service. Now we have that option to configure. I will show you in Microsoft Azure how you can do that, but this is what you need to do. And if you want to approve, just click approve, and there you go, is check my face, and that is called biometric authentication, or using a face recognition. After it approve, it actually allow me to log in successfully like that, right? Now this is all about Microsoft Azure. If let's say if I go back to another or third-party application, which is right now here is iCloud, and I'm currently using with my account, and my hacker, maybe they have the password and try to log in. Check on my screen, guys, and in fact on my Mac machine as well. In both ways I can allow or deny. Because on my mobile phone you are checking that it is showing me, hey, somebody from Bengaluru is trying to access your account, whether you want to allow or you want to deny. Now it is in my hand whether I want to allow or deny. Or let's say if I want to allow, I just click allow. On my mobile phone is also fine, and as soon as I allow, I need to type in this code. You can see it's 278005. Now this is OTP. This is called one-time password. So yeah, trust or no, not now. So once I type the correct OTP or my one-time password, it allows me to log in to my account successfully. So basically, if I want to deny, I can choose deny, or here do not allow. In both ways, the user do not go inside those applications even though those have my password. So this is the message to all the bad guys: do not try to access my account, because I have all my control, and definitely I'm not going to allow you to access any of my resources. So I think you get the idea that these things are working in this way, and within Microsoft, and of course outside Microsoft. So let's jump back to our slide and understand how we can configure and what options do we have in Microsoft Azure. What is multi-factor authentication? I have already explained you, and I think to understand this better, let me explain from this picture on the right hand side. So I already explained, but just to tell you a little bit more in detail that how multi-factor authentication works behind the scene, you need to understand this whole picture right here. So as you can see, this is my user, and it definitely have a password, right? Now this password is currently very well settled, and it's very complicated, and the user believe everything is fine and nobody is going to hack, which I also believe. But we always have these tensed situation whenever we are trying to access these username and the passwords on online or cloud platform or anywhere over the internet. It doesn't matter whether you're using your Azure username and the password over mobile phone, or maybe using some in-house application, or maybe from any laptop or any other device. It's fine, because all the process is gonna be same. You need to type your username and your password. Now, if you have configured multi-factor authentication within your Microsoft Azure, now what exactly it does behind the scene, it goes to a condition. Now this condition you are not going to see, but actually it's been implemented automatically. Now as soon as you go there, it will say, hey, it requires an MFA, which is multi-factor authentication, whether it could be from mobile phone, whether it could be a phone call, whether it could be an SMS or OTP, or maybe we have some kind of Microsoft Authenticator application as an example, or maybe your organization has developed any other open authentication based application as well, where you are going to receive a 4-digit or 6-digit code, or maybe this 6-digit code could be alphanumeric, numeric, or maybe alphabetically. It's depends on how you actually configure these services. Now once you receive and once you configure these all things correctly and you receive these access, because on the screen it will show you, hey, whether you want to allow or whether you want to block your access. So if you don't want to allow, just click on do not allow or deny on the screen. But if you want to allow, just click allow. Only then you are able to access your data, whether it is on the cloud or in your in-house. So I just want to talk about if condition. This is if condition, and here we have to configure our options. So right now, just to give you one more idea, one more time, that what is multi-factor authentication, guys. It just a user is prompted for a sign-in process with additional layer or form of identification, because multi-factor authentication is going to ask you, hey, is it you really or someone else? So need to tell it very much clearly based on the authentication method or additional layer of security you have configured. So once you allowed, then absolutely it is fine to log in based on your allow or deny access. Now, when you talk about the options, you need to remember that these are 4 options you can configure in Microsoft Azure. Whether you're going to receive a call from Microsoft Azure that, hey, this is your code, you can type that code manually on the screen. You might going to receive an OTP, or which we called an SMS, so it's up to you. Or maybe we have configured application just like Microsoft Authenticator, but here we have additional layer of security, guys, which is a biometric authentication. Until unless your Microsoft Authenticator do not verify biometric authenticator, which is actually my face on Microsoft Authenticator service on my mobile phones, until I do not have access of the application. So that's have you already seen. And the very interestingly, we have open authentication for hardware-based token, because some organization has configured open authentication based on hardware. For example, I have this mobile, and or example right now, I have Microsoft Authenticator configured on 2 mobile phones as an example, but I just want to use only one. So it is going to use obviously the developer has configured in such a way that is going to be copy the hardware information or device ID of my mobile device or my laptop device or whatever the device, or maybe fingerprint device into that application. Only that specific device is gonna allow or deny that request, which is based on multi-factor authentication. So point here is, as soon as a request is going to be received, it's not going to receive on multiple devices, only on a dedicated device, and it is based on device ID, but it is required developer to intervene and configure that for us in their own in-house application. Now, during the time of verification, these kind of screen, I just want to copy that because that's exactly I copy from my own try during the time of I configure my another account, where it can ask me whether you want me to send, or they want me to send a code on my mobile number, or do you do like I want to call myself on my number, or just on my mobile application. So these are all options available for me, whether how I like to configure. So choose any one of them, any one of that option, and that's how you're going to go and configure your multi-factor authentication. So that's all, guys, you need to remember and need to understand about multi-factor authentication. Rest, it's all about how you are going to configure multi-factor authentication. And don't worry, let me show you how you're going to do that in Microsoft Azure in a real time. I'm too excited, guy, to show you that how you can configure multi-factor authentication in Microsoft Azure. And just like I said, believe me, it's very easy. And after configure multi-factor authentication, you are going to definitely say, Harsh, is that it? That's it? I mean, is that easy to configure MFA in Azure? Yes, it is. So to start with configuring multi-factor authentication, guys, you need to go to Azure Active Directory. And here you have to go for users. But before to go into the users, I like to share one more information here. Because as you can see right now, my license is Azure AD Premium P2, right? So guys, Microsoft allows you, or Microsoft Azure allows you to configure MFA in case you have license with free. If you have free Azure Active Directory license, you can still configure MFA for your users. But if you like to go ahead with some certain additional features in MFA, for example, if you have any in-house application and you like to configure MFA for them using Microsoft Azure Active Directory, then guys, you need to purchase an additional license called Azure AD Premium P2. So right now I have enabled all the possible features in Microsoft Azure, and you can do that also for 90 days, because here you can find out that Microsoft allows you to use this Premium P2 Azure AD license for 90 days if you would like to configure and try these options. But I'd like to show you that where you can find more information and option for MFA. But at the moment, let's go and try to enable it for the users, which is by default available for everyone. So guys, you have to go to users right here. Under users, you can find I have a couple of users, and these users can be used to configure multi-factor authentication. Now to try this and to configure this, let's start with Brian as an example. So I select Brian and I click on per user MFA. Now this is the place where you have to go and configure your multi-factor authentication. Now just remember, it will open a new portal. After I click on this, it will open a new portal, and in this portal you can find all of your users right under one place. Now the advantage here is you can configure MFA for all the users. If you like to achieve that, select bulk update and it will download one CSV file, follow the format of the CSV file, upload again, and it will automatically enable MFA for all the users. Let's say if you have millions of users or thousands of users in Azure Active Directory. Or if you be very specific, you want to enable for, let's say, global administrators, you select the global administrators and you can choose all of those users and start enabling MFA accordingly. However, right now I'm going to follow this sign in allowed users option, and I like to configure for Brian, because I like to show you all the users. As you can see right here, MFA or multi-factor authentication is currently disabled, right? So I'd like to show you first what difference you can find before and after configuring your multi-factor authentication. So to understand this better, let me go to my another browser. In that browser, I'm going to log in with my Brian account. So the account name is brianharsharina.in. Hope I'm writing this right information. Yeah, looks good to me. Now type in the password. Hope my password is also correct. Otherwise, we need to reset the password. Seems good. Wow. Okay, so as you can see guys, I'm able to log into the Brian account without any issue, and it's a very easy step, and that's how normally users do, right? But what difference you can find after enabling that MFA? So guys, for to enable the multi-factor authentication and to enforce this user to follow multi-factor authentication strictly, so what I have to do, I have to select user, and on the right hand side I have called enable. Just hit enable, and is asking, hey, please read the deployment guide, because if you are going to enable it, you need to inform your users about it. Why? I will tell you very soon that why you need to inform your users. And another thing, that if you like to access MFA directly, so you don't need to go to portal.azure.com, you can simply type https://aka.ms/MFA setup. Now remember this URL, because this is the URL I have seen in the examination. So you might also hit with the same question or similar question. Anyway, how you're going to enable it? Simply click enable multi-factor authentication. That's it guys. That's all you need to do. Nothing much. Think about how much it is easy right now in configuring MFA in Microsoft Azure. However, right now I just enable it, but I do not enforce it, which means that maybe this user Brian can skip of using this multi-factor authentication option. Now this is exactly I don't want. So to achieve this guys, I need to select the user. I need to click enforce, or of course I can start with enforce, and here it said, okay, user will need to create a password. Now I will tell you what is this, but right now just hit enforce multi-factor password, which has been done successfully, and we are good to go here, because as you can see, the permission is been enforced. Now to show you the difference and how you're going to configure multi-factor authentication for the user, follow the steps. So let's go back to our user. Let me sign out first. After sign out, guys, I need to sign in again with the same user, obviously. Now you can see the difference. I click on Brian, then this is my password of the user, and I hope this will be good. Can you see that now, guys? We have a different prompt here, and there's no option to skip this option. Simply we need to follow next because it's asking for more option, more information. So as soon as it goes to next screen, now guys, this is the screen I like to show you. Now this is all about where you have to tell and call your client to configure your MFA together, because we have certain options and this user need to provide those options to the administrator as well. So basically, what options do we have? We can start with authentication phone, whether you want to receive a call or you want to receive a code, it's up to you. Obviously, you need to select your country. As an example, right now I'm in India, and type the contact details, and there you go. Simple as that. Second option we have is office phone. If you have any landline phone, you can configure the landline phone and you're going to receive a call for that. The most important option where people like to configure most of the time, which is mobile application. So if you select mobile application, and definitely you want to receive notification for verification, because once you receive the notification, you are going to approve or deny those requests. If you select use verification code, then you're going to receive just like one-time password, like I show you in iCloud, that 6-digit code, and you need to type that 6-digit code, then it will allow you to log in to your application on in Microsoft Azure. Now, what is the process to configure MFA here, guys? So just follow the receive notification for verification. After you select, click setup. Now, as soon as you click setup, now it's asking, hey, you have to go to your mobile phone and open your Microsoft Authenticator application. So guys, to configure that Authenticator application, it's very easy. What we need to do, we just need to go to our mobile phone. Right now I'm using my iPhone, and then open my Microsoft Authenticator application. You can download it. It's free, of course, from App Store. Then after I click on the Authenticator application, now this is the brand new account I need to add. So what you need to do, you need to click plus and then select work or school account, because this Microsoft Azure belongs to your work account. So select your work or school account and asking, hey, what do you want to do here? You want to sign in manually or go for this QR code? Obviously, I would like to go with the QR code, which is right on my screen. So I will scan the QR code, and there you go. After I scan the QR code, we have to wait for some time. And as you can see on my mobile phone, that default directory for brian@harsharena.in has been configured successfully, right? So this has been done, and once it is good to go, just click next. Now here, we need to perform next here because setup has been done. And guys, right now, because it's trying to confirm whether I'm going to receive a notification on my Authenticator app or not. So as you can see on my screen, I have the Authenticator means permission for Brian account, and I click approve. As soon as I approve, it verify my face with a face recognition or biometric configuration. And as you can see, verification has been done. However, is keep asking me to provide a contact number because it is a mandatory step to provide that. You can provide any number you like. For example, 9999 45612. How many digits it is? 4 2. I don't know who is this, but yeah, I just simply type any number here. So once you click next, is checking. Now this is important, guys, app password, because if you configure, let's say, Microsoft Outlook, and you don't want to allow any other application except Microsoft Outlook with MFA. So guys, this will be your password, and you need to save this password while configuring your Outlook using MFA over Azure Active Directory. So this is called app password. And similarly, if you like to configure app password for a dedicated application, this would be the password for login using your MFA or using MFA in those applications. So once you're good to go, simply click done. And now we are good and fine here with Brian. Okay. Now, just to verify whether this time things has been configured correctly, I simply sign out. And now try to log in again with the Brian, because this time it should directly ask me, approve or deny request on my mobile phone. So here I just log in with the Johnny Bravo. Wow, it's simply signed in. Oh, not a Johnny Bravo. Sorry about that. Brian. Wow, I really like the character called Johnny Bravo. Okay, there you go. Let me type my password. This is my... I'm sorry, let me type it again because I think I made a typo mistake here. I think this must be good. And now, once I click sign in, you can see that, guys, is asking approve or deny request on my Microsoft Authenticator application for Brian account. And here as well, that is asking for, hey, approve sign in request. So if I approve it, I click approve, verify my face, then only it allows me to sign in, right? So that's how your multi-factor authentication works in the real world. And just like I said, it is a very, very important configuration for your organization to do this. I mean, it is a required step, and each one of Azure administrator must be aware how they can configure it. But I think after look at this one, you feel, hey, that's pretty easy, right? But before to leave here, I'd like to show you one additional configuration for MFA as well. So for that, guys, you need to go to default directory, which is in Azure Active Directory. And if you go to security, under security, you can find more options for multi-factor authentication. So here, if you go to MFA under manage right here, in MFA, it will show you even more options to configure your MFA with, let's say, additional applications. So as an example, additional cloud-based MFA settings. If you click on this, so automatically take you to another portal where you can simply allow users to create app password, which we definitely want to allow because that's how people are going to access their applications. If you select do not allow, then people are not able to access their application. If you are very much working in a grind state, or let's say in a very controlled environment, and you want to allow a dedicated IP address, so you can simply type the address space subnet here, or the specific IP address with the CIDR, which is /16/24. That's how you want to roll here. And only these one is going to be allowed to access your multi-factor authentication. So it's up to you. And obviously, which one, verification option. You want to allow call to phone, you want to allow text to message, you want to allow notification, you want to allow to the mobile app. Now, these all options are available for you. Which one you want to allow, which one you don't want to use. For example, if you don't want to use call to phone, you can simply remove it, and the people are not going to receive this option while trying to access their application using their username and the password. I think you get my point here. Now, this is, I highly recommend each one of you to please go and check these settings. And also just make sure that although you have logged in on this machine successfully, here an option that whether how many days you want to allow to keep using multi-factor authentication on the device. Otherwise, what you need to do, you need to just trust those devices again. And I think it's a good practice, and 90 days is good here, but usually I have seen people configure 60 days or in maximum organization, especially for stakeholders, for 120 days. So once you're good to go, you simply need to click save, and that's absolutely fine. So this is one setting I like to share with you, which is an additional things, but you can have more option under account lockout. You can check trigger if somebody try to access 3 times wrong, means MFA, let's say they do not have the right information to log in into using MFA, then your account will be locked automatically. So these settings are gonna be here for you. I just request you to keep go here, because block user, unblock user, it's up to you. Fraud alert. Yeah, fraud alert is it's a very great feature which can tell you that, okay, whether it is maybe somebody failed to log in successfully for, let's say, one time, then automatically it will save those information and tell you via an email that, hey, somebody was trying to access your user account and we failed to log into that place. Anyway, so notification, yeah, we can add that email notification. Type the email ID, you're going to receive that. Open authentication token. Now this is based on your additional application, which is in-house application, and OAuth token need to be generated based on the OAuth servers you have configured on premises. You need to just type in those token, upload here, configure that, and that's how you're going to roll and authenticate all of your applications successfully. Yeah, we have this phone call settings. You can configure that, server settings, one-time password, bypass actually. So I mean, these are all settings which you can go through, and this is additional layer you can get. Why you can get? Because I have a license of Azure AD Premium P2. If you don't have this license, you are not able to see this option. So guys, that's all about Microsoft multi-factor authentication, Microsoft Azure, in fact, multi-factor authentication. I think you feel pretty easy. So let's go to our last slide and try to understand and finish the final things in today's session. Alright guys, so we have learned that how we can configure multi-factor authentication in Microsoft Azure for our users. I think it's not that difficult, right? And we have covered both of these topics, multi-factor authentication planning, where we choose users and we can definitely decide whether we want to apply MFA for all the users or a dedicated users. And once you configure that in the planning, always remember you need to enforce your multi-factor authentication, because if you don't enforce, then I don't think so it's a good idea to use MFA. The second thing is, yeah, we have already gone through that, how we can configure that multi-factor authentication. We have seen that how your users is going to behave after enable your multi-factor authentication. So just to repeat and to just a review of multi-factor authentication one more time, guys. Multi-factor authentication is a great way to protect your identity within Microsoft Azure. It doesn't matter whether you are using your Microsoft Azure in the portal, or you maybe try to access anything on any application on any device. So multi-factor authentication is going to help you to protect your identity, and it's an extra layer of security where unless you do not allow, nobody has access of those resources. So again, it's a great way, and I highly recommend each one of you to try this at least once and make sure you have to enable this within your environment. So yeah guys, I mean, that to be all for today. I hope you find this session quite informative and helpful, and I also do believe that you are learning these things day by day with me. Although I like to again apologize, and I must say sorry that I'm not able to upload very much frequently these videos, because guys, I recently got a job and I'm in Bangalore at the moment. Feel free to come Tani Sandra. I'm living in Tani Sandra if somebody is in Bangalore, and we can definitely have a chat and sit together if you really want to. Actually, my job timings are quite Canada time, and it's very difficult for me to handle and manage. And you know that I have a 2-year-old kid, so when he sleep, only then I make these videos. So even I can tell you right now, the time is 1:58, which is 2 a.m. and my kid is currently sleeping. That's why I'm creating these videos for you. So no worries, I will keep pushing myself to create this video frequently. But guys, if you have any questions, feel free to drop your messages or comments into the comment section. And obviously, if you want to discuss with me something, feel free to contact me over WhatsApp, and I'm more than happy to share my contact number if you really need to discuss something with me. So anyway, that to be all for now. Please take care of yourself. And guys, third wave is coming very soon. You have to take care of your family and yourself. And I really pray and wish that you all are safe, your family is safe, and things are absolutely going well at your side. So, once again, have a good time. Take care. Peace. God bless.